Hey, everybody, welcome back. Another new edition of 20 Minutes Podcast. Appreciate everyone watching and your feedback. And just good to be back at it and good to be able to talk to several of the coaches across the state of Illinois. And again, always enjoy talking to our next guest. He is the head coach of the Peoria Lions, Tim Thornton, joining us. And, Coach, hadn't talked to you really, hadn't seen since the state final. So, again, just congratulations on one heck of a year. There's been some memorable state title games, but your game last year, I think, has to be up there with a lot of those top games over the many years of the state finals. And obviously, you're 1 point on the wrong side of it, but I don't know. I got the feeling, and certainly you'll tell us. What else could you say to your kids? I really thought your kids just left it all on the field for 4 quarters, and you came away 1 point short.
Yeah, I thought they did too. I was proud of their effort, proud of how hard they played, and they put themselves in a position to be within a point to make it a one-score game with a really good football team that was, had the hot hand, and they'd been playing really good ball. And like you said, we just came up a little bit short. If the game was a couple minutes shorter, a couple minutes longer, who knows? But that's football. That's life. That's the things you gotta. That's why you do high school football.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And again, just an unbelievable performance from your running back, Malachi Washington, who, again, all-state consensus all-state player. You can argue he was player of the year in the state of Illinois, and I don't think you get too many people that would argue. Did you see that coming going into the year? And I think part of that story that got overlooked, and you know this as well as anyone, is an offensive lineman. We just assume they're going to do their job, and the running back gets all the credit. But let's talk about the importance of that offensive line, and if you really saw Washington just ready in the summer to put up those kind of numbers and have the kind of year that he had.
I would have put money he'd have been a 2,000-yard rusher in the summer. We knew he was going to be good. We didn't know how good. We also didn't know how good that offensive line was going to be. We knew they were big, but we've had big guys in the past that didn't gel and didn't come together and didn't use their feet the same way. But it was kind of a perfect storm for our running game where we could pass it just enough that you couldn't get completely overloading the box and things of that nature. And then the offensive line, we had a bunch of first-year starters up there. I don't think we had a single returner. My son had been a returner, but we put him out at tight end, and then Newbie Wholesome did just a dangerous job at fullback for us. And so just that entire combination and how hard Mally actually ran was really huge.
You had a young quarterback in Valentino Gis, obviously. So you got a younger quarterback. I know you're trying to get to the varsity level and get a handle and a feel on the offense. You've always got skills. You've always got receivers, a lot of talent in the receiver core. Was it by design going into the year that we're going to be run heavy and then obviously mix in what we can? Was that you just adjusting to your strengths and what you had coming back, or a little bit of both maybe?
So we're always gonna be prepared to take whatever the defense gives us. And if we find ourselves, so we'll spend the whole summer getting ready to do both. If we find ourselves in a position where it just turns out that you can run the ball and we're going to be good at it, then we'll continue to take advantage of, it's obviously a lot less risk to hand the ball off to somebody than it is to put it in the air and sling it around a little bit. So if the easy stuff's working, then we'll keep doing that. We were prepared to throw the ball around if we had to. But at the same time, a week before the season, our number one receiver gets a broken wrist, and Ricky Hearn plays the entire season with a cast on his hand, and so that was a little scary also, but he ended up doing a great job with that as well.
You mentioned Ricky's injury, and obviously your son had an injury and missed quite a bit, quite a good portion of the season and missed the playoff run. Every year, you're going to have some adversity, and talk about the importance of those kids being able to step up and Let's talk about your son being a coach, because it sure looked like he took on a new role after the injury, and seemed like he was into it. I think you might have another future coach on your hands there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he knows his stuff. His seventh and eighth grade year, he was in the booth, headphones on, calling fronts for us. His eighth grade year, he actually called the offense for our freshman team. He was offense coordinator for them, so he's got some experience with it. And he kind of took on a role of once he got hurt. He spent some time watching film, and then he really took the tight ends under his wing and said, let's make sure we get the steps right and the hand placement and all that kind of stuff. So he definitely contributed.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And then defense, again, just an area that for whatever reason people don't want to seem to talk a lot about. But boy, I tell you what, you had some impressive kids on that defensive side of the football. And, I had a chance to talk to Gary Rutherford, who just recently got offered by Western Illinois, and he's a terrific looking athlete for you. And I know you had some key seniors on that defense as well. Who are some of those kids that really stood out, maybe went above and beyond what even you expected from them going into the year? Because let's face it, I mean, people are going to look at the state title game and see that, high score. But outside of that, pal, generally your defense played really, really strong all year.
Yeah, they'll see the high score. I swear that phone hasn't rang all day. It rang twice since we've been here.
Nice.
No, we have some high scores, but I mean, the thing that most people don't realize is because we go so fast on offense and the things that we do to support that, we put our defense in some tough spots. We give them more possessions to defend than most teams have to defend. So we look at numbers a little bit differently than everyone else. And, if we're winning a game, 70-50, that's the same as most people win at 21-14. So I don't look too much into the numbers. But as far as the players go, Kenny Rutherford did a tremendous job for us. He was a senior that he's a 4-sport athlete for us. And he's a tiny little guy. He wrestled, I think, 152. And he just really got after it and did almost everything for us. So it was pretty huge for that.
And then as far as Gary is concerned as a junior, where do you project him at? Where do you think he's going to wind up eventually position-wise? Because right now he looks like a kid coach that could end up playing a couple of different spots depending on how he develops physically.
I believe he could too. I think there's a lot of options for him. He's actually one of the best receivers we have also.
Yeah.
But we really try to keep one way as much as possible. But he, a lot of the bigger schools are looking at him at safety. I think, like you said, he got an offer from Western this week as more of an offensive linebacker, and he got another one today. I don't know if he put it out there yet, so I'll wait and let him be first to put it out there.
Yeah, it's no problem.
But they were talking about outside linebacker room also. I still think there's a chance that our kids have a habit of once they get onto a campus and get that meal plan, they mess around and put some good weight on. And I wouldn't be surprised if he ended up being an edge rusher somewhere in the future. But
yeah, he's
I
got
think
that length.
He's got the length. He's got a motor, but he's smooth and he's deceptively quick. So he gets after it.
Was there a key game last year during the regular season where you maybe thought you had a handle on this team and thought, yeah, we're going to be pretty good? But was there one game in particular where I don't know, maybe it was even the normal West game towards the end of the year that ended up losing? I know that ended up being a weather game, but was there one key game in particular that you look at as kind of a turning point, or maybe gave you a little bit better of a feel or a good solid feel for where this team can wind up going?
I'm not sure that there was. Maybe the Kankakee game where we kind of felt like we weren't sure how well we've been challenged and if we played, what quality of teams we played so far. Normal community is usually one of our biggest challenges, and they hit some adversity mid-season. So we certainly didn't get their best effort. I guess not effort. I mean, they had effort, but
Right.
they had some guys down and they had some guys out, and then we also felt like you said we felt like the Normal West game wasn't a true representation. We felt like we got beat by the elements, and I did a poor job preparing for that, and so yeah, maybe the Kankakee game, but I thought the thing that our team last year did was really address the process and really focus on getting better every week and making sure we're putting a better product on the field every week. And I thought when they embraced that, it was nice to see that, hey, we're going to continue. If we can stay in this long enough, we'll be pretty good by the time we get to the end of this.
Have you really been there 13 years as a head coach? It's crazy.
Tim, I'm the worst one to ask. Like I don't keep track of it very well at all. I've got some assistants that'll tell me that, but I think it has been that long. And then it was, I think, 6 years at Woodruff before that.
Yeah.
But shoot, it sure don't seem like it's been that long.
No, not at all. And again, I mean, this is a Peoria program that's playing football since what, 1890?
Yeah, we're the oldest school in the state and been playing football for a while.
Again, 13 years, you're approaching 100 wins. You're over career-wise 100 wins.
Yep.
But approaching 100 wins at Peoria as a head coach. I mean, you win a state title in 16. You get a runner-up this past year in 5A. Where you thought you'd be? Above expectations, at expectations, below expectations? Are you a guy that has a short-term, a long-term goals, or is it just year to year?
No, it's not, I don't even know that it's year to year. It's really just, how do we keep improving and what do we got to do to keep that process rolling? And we just, when we're in season, we want to be better than we were the week before. And when we're out of season, it's what can we fix that we did last year wrong, and what can we improve on that we liked, and how do we keep going with it? So I guess if you would have asked me 10 years ago, I think we had at one point we had said we just wanted to be the best public school between like I-80 and I think maybe I-70. Like we were just trying to be that
right.
middle of the state best public school in 5A, and I think we surpassed that a couple times, and it's at the time, as long as East St. Louis was still going to go 6A, we were going to
yeah. 2023, a lot to look forward to, and I know this is something that you and I have talked about. I bring it up to you every time I'm at Peoria Stadium.
Yeah.
We're finally getting a major renovation done in Peoria Stadium.
Yep.
$8 million project, field turf. I know they've already put a new scoreboard in. I know they've already done the demolition on the visitor side. So they banged out all that old concrete and got it. I mean, first of all, how exciting is that for you guys? I mean, and Tim, you talk about a community in a school and just an area that deserves to get an upgrade and to have a facility to really take pride in. It's you guys and really just that entire Peoria area. I mean, it's got to be amazing. And I'm sure once the weather breaks here in another month or so and they really get going again with the construction, I got a feeling you're going to be driving over there from time to time and check in on that, aren't you?
Yeah, they already took advantage of a couple of these warm days, and they've got, like you said, they've got the whole visitor bleachers ripped out, but they did leave the hill, which I was happy about. So it looks like they're just going to put new concrete on that side, and then they've got the track bulldozed out and the old surface bulldozed out, and so I think they're on it and ready to roll. Looking forward to the new field turf, and like you said, the scoreboard was a huge update. I know you've been at one of the day games at that field where just the lights are just aren't bright enough and you can't see a thing.
Yeah.
So we're definitely excited. I think it gives the kids a little bit more legitimacy in their mind. It makes it a little more real to them and makes them feel a little bit more big time. And in this Deion Sanders age, look good, play good. So.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And I think, again, I just think it helps the area. I really do. I mean, it just gives you guys a different look and a different light, and I think you guys are going to just flourish with it. There's no doubt about it. So I'm obviously excited for those upgrades as well. I can't wait to see it. As far as the schedule, I know that you get a rare non-conference game this year. And oh, by the way, it's week 1 at your renovated field and against a little team called Rochester. That's kind of nice how that worked out for you.
Yeah, it worked out good. We either way we were going to be good. We had Metamora set up for a 1-1, and then the Central State 8 and the Big 12 kind of got together and they were building something for the future. They were going to try to just match up the better teams in the Central State 8 with the better teams in the Big 12 and then on down the line based on just matchups from year to year. And then after 1 year, I think Central State 8 added somebody else and kind of threw a monkey wrench in that. So it's just a 1-year deal. We ended up with one of the top teams in the Central State 8. We're excited to have Derek and those guys over.
Yeah, I would love to see you guys be able to continue to do that, but I know it's saying it's one thing and getting it done's a whole other deal, especially with scheduling. And Tim, I got to imagine that's got to be the biggest issue, I would think, for the conference, right? I mean, finding like-size schools within a general vicinity of you guys is not easy. And I mean, your conference is already spread from you guys on the west end to Danville on the east end, and it's already covering a pretty wide area in central Illinois. I got to imagine, is that probably one of the big hangups as far as trying to sneak in a non-conference or two in the Big 12 schedule?
Yeah, I think so. And the problem is, when you have an odd number of teams, like we have 11, that the week off, the bye week or whatever, the non-conference week is staggered for everybody. It's not the same week for everyone. So if you got a week 1, it's no big deal. You can go find somebody. But when you've got a week 5 or a week 7, most conferences don't have that open. So it's very rare that you can find one. That's where it gets tough.
Yeah, there's no doubt. A couple more things, Tim, and then again, I'll let you go. Definitely appreciate you taking time. 1 through 32 seating. Obviously, it got put on hold last year, so we weren't able to roll it out. Just your thoughts on that, and also, are we actually going to see it this year? What are your thoughts?
I didn't know that it was back up as a possibility. I was kind of looking forward to see how it would shake up. There's a lot of good and a lot of bad that I guess could come from it on either way. But you've got a chance to maybe play some teams early that you've never matched up with.
Right.
You got some guys like Sycamore that are in there every year that if both of you don't make it to the finals, you're just never going to see each other. And I think those would be some interesting matchups. But at the same time, Illinois is long, and if a team like a Vernon Hills or something ends up with a Cahokia or a Centralia or Marion, and all of a sudden you're talking about some travel time. So the way I look at it, it's you're in the playoffs. It's not a regular deal. You've all earned the right to be there if you got some travel involved. I think that's part of it. I think our kids enjoy the travel when it comes to playoffs. If it's a meaningless game or a low priority game, then the travel becomes annoying. But when you're talking about a playoff game, I think it's an opportunity to provide some great memories for the kids, which is really what this is all about.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I get the travel aspect of it. Believe me, I actually remember seeing who was it? Nashville have to go to Addison Driscoll play a playoff game. It's a long haul. It's a real long haul. So I get that, but as you mentioned, I just think there's a part of the experience that kids are just missing out when you're not able to load up a bus and go 2-3 hours away from home and go see parts of the state. Tim, they might send you to the south side of Chicago, and that's something that your kids might not ever see. A lot of your kids might not ever get out of the Peoria area, and vice versa with the kids in Chicago. They don't know what Peoria is. They have no idea. So I think there's an aspect to that. Yeah, and just to be clear, IHSA has not brought it back. There's this talk that obviously they're knocking that around right now, and we'll see what happens. So who knows with the economy. And then finally, the other thing I'm sure you've got to feel really good about is IHSA moving the state title games to Illinois State.
Yeah, I think that'll be interesting. I think it's a more intimate venue. You know, it's tough sometimes when you bring a high school crowd to a stadium as big as you know, U of I and DeKalb, but it's obviously it's closer for us. But you know, again, like when you're that far, if they told us we had to go play in North Dakota, we'd make it and we'd be happy about it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think Illinois State's a great place to have it. You know, we're excited about it, and you know, hopefully we're in it and we can play in the first one.
You've been blessed the last handful of years. You've had some guys move on, and some guys end up playing in the pros. I'm thinking about Kendrick, and you always seem to get those alumni coming back to visit.
Yeah,
that doesn't happen everywhere. So I mean, I got to imagine as you being their coach, that's got to be a great feeling when those guys come back and just talk to the team and just kind of hang around a little bit.
Yeah, it's great when they do. You know, Kendrick, LaCale, and Josh Augusta. You know, those kind of guys that did go on play in the NFL, and then man, this Christmas break was fantastic in the weight room. I think on the daily we had 10 or 12, you know, college athletes in there lifting weights with the kids, and you know, everybody just kind of lifts a little harder and wants to show off for the older guys, and it just kind of creates that culture of this is just the expected now. It's expected that we're going to play at Peoria High, and it's expected we're going to go on to play at the next level. And you know, basically anybody that comes out and works their tail off is going to find a home somewhere.
Yeah, no doubt. Tim, I appreciate it. I know you're in the middle of your day, so always glad to get connected with you, and just wish you the best of luck during the off season here. And you know, I'll end up seeing you one of these days sooner rather than later.
Sounds good.
All right. That is Tim Thornton, head coach